Over the years, IBM Global Financing has had the pleasure of working with thousands of lease customers. During that time, we've processed millions of pieces of leased equipment. Based on this vast experience, we've developed end-of-lease guidelines to benefit you and IBM. Our objectives are simple: to ensure that leased equipment is returned in good working order and in a condition the next user would find acceptable. Most managers now face increasing pressure to ensure the confidentiality of corporate, client, or patient data. Many laws mandate strict standards for customer data confidentiality, with health and financial services industries in particular being significantly impacted by the complexity of compliance requirements. Most companies don't have the time, resources, or expertise to sanitize large numbers of disk drives, and many choose to have a third party perform the service for them. IBM Global Financing's Asset Recovery Services data overwrite process can provide this service at lease return. We will provide you with more detail later. In the next few minutes, we'll cover the end-of-lease program in detail, including how you should pack the equipment for return shipment to IBM, as well as how our technicians inspect the equipment once it's received at our facility. Prior to the expiration of your lease, we will provide information regarding assets that are approaching end of lease. We'll include a description of the asset, the machine type or model, serial number, as well as end-of-lease options. These options may include extending or renewing the lease or purchasing the equipment. Our end-of-lease department can help determine which option is best for your organization and can be reached at 1-800-IBM-3552. You are required to notify IBM of your intentions at least 1 month before the lease expiration date. If we don't receive written notice, the lease will extend based on the terms of your contract. If you plan to return the equipment to IBM, proper labeling is critical. Most end-of-lease issues can be prevented by properly labeling the package or box used to return the equipment. We want to ensure that your organization is credited with the return. Each package or box containing returned assets must be identified on the bill of lading or the parcel shipment label with your company name, return address, contact name, and phone number. There are only 3 labels that should remain on the PC: the IBM identification label, the serial number, and the Microsoft Certificate of Authenticity. All other labels should be removed from the equipment, such as those that identify your company or a service organization that users are directed to call. It's important to remove all passwords. That includes security, power on, hard drive, and especially administrative passwords. If we cannot access a PC because of password protection, a charge may be incurred. As mentioned earlier, it is important to understand that you should take the steps necessary to protect the data assets of your organization. Any data considered confidential to your organization should be removed from the hard drive prior to return. The hard drive may not be overwritten when it's processed by IBM, and confidential data could be accessible by the next user. IBM Global Financing's Asset Recovery Solutions can offer a 3x disk overwrite service, which provides an efficient and cost-effective way to reliably overwrite your disk drives. This service overwrites the drives on Intel processor-based machines to Department of Defense 5220-22-M 3-pass standards. Your data is virtually irretrievable. Following IBM's packing guidelines will help ensure that the assets arrive without damage. All of the items that were placed on lease must be returned at lease end. Shipping boxes should be large enough to allow 3 to 4 inches of space between the unit and sides of the box. Again, labeling is important. Securely tape an identification label to each box. For a desktop unit, place the CPU in a plastic bag and seal it with tape. Then wrap the unit in bubble wrap and again secure it with tape. The keyboard should also be covered in bubble wrap and taped. Place the CPU, keyboard, mouse, and power cord in the box and seal it. Securely attach a label to the outside of the box. The preferred packaging for shipments of individual laptops is the Cradle Air Suspension Sling Pack. Instructions are included with it. When returning multiple laptops from a location, an alternative packing method is to double wrap each laptop in large bubble wrap and secure it with tape. Also, wrap any auxiliary equipment such as drives or batteries in bubble wrap. All equipment should be returned together. Place the laptop and the additional parts in the box on their ends, no more than 3 high. Seal it and securely attach a label. The monitor should be wrapped in bubble wrap and placed in the box or on a skid on its side, not on the pedestal. The glass surface should not be facing the skid or the bottom of the box. The pedestal should be left on the machines. Also, place the power cord and signal cord in the box. Finally, seal the box or skid with tape and attach the label. If you are returning flat panel displays, the PC End-of-Lease Guide on the IBM Global Financing End-of-Lease website provides packing instructions enabling you to minimize the chance of damage and additional charges. You may select any carrier for the return of the equipment. As a convenience, IBM Global Financing partners with an experienced freight handler in each country. Most leased equipment is returned here. IBM Global Financing operates state-of-the-art facilities in many countries worldwide for receiving, verifying, refurbishing, and remarketing our leased equipment. This 500,000 square foot facility in North Carolina is ISO 9001 certified. We receive between 40 and 50,000 pieces of equipment each month. Our technicians undergo weeks of training before being certified to inspect equipment. The process starts when your equipment arrives at our dock. If the shipment appears to have shifted during transit, this is noted on the bill of lading and photos are taken. The shipment is then unloaded. At this point, any obvious damage to the exterior of the packing material is noted on your bill of lading. As a result, it is critical for you to have established a process with your carrier to have a copy of the signed bill of lading provided to you. Our experience has shown that the machines properly packed that arrive with no obvious damage to the packing material were not damaged in transit. Also, we count the number of containers or packing boxes at this point to ensure that there is a match with the number on the bill of lading. Again, discrepancies are noted on the bill of lading. Within 2 to 3 days of the receipt of your machines, the boxes will be unpacked and each unit is entered into our system. At this point, your organization is given credit for the returned equipment based on the date the truck was unloaded, not the date the information was entered into our system. Each unit is also inspected for any obvious damage that occurred during transit. Damage is noted on the bill of lading, along with any exceptions, such as a discrepancy in the number of units shipped. As mentioned earlier, IBM Global Financing's Asset Recovery Service provides data overwriting for a fee. If you have a signed Asset Recovery Services contract for this service, any computers designated to receive IBM's data overwrite service will be routed directly to have this service performed after receipt. Our 3x disk overwrite process is designed to meet the United States Department of Defense 5220-22-M3 pass standards. Following this standard provides a high level of security for any data residing on your computers, leaving it virtually irretrievable. Key features of the service include processes that ensure every machine receives its proper data cleansing. This service overwrites the drives on Intel processor-based machines to Department of Defense 5220-22-M 3-pass standards. Your data is virtually irretrievable. If any sector on a drive cannot be verified as overwritten, that drive is physically destroyed. If additional overwriting beyond the DoD 3X standard is required, we can provide an estimate for that service. Finally, for your protection, we provide a verification report that the overwrite process has been performed on your hard drives. If you are interested in this service, please contact your IGF representative to obtain further information on this offering. Asset verification and inspection begins here. There are 4 basic steps in this process. 1. Technicians confirm that the unit powers up without errors. In doing this, they're also confirming that passwords have been removed. 2. We check to confirm that features and options originally placed on lease have been returned with the machine and are functioning properly. This includes checking for things like external floppy drives, power cords, processor speed, amount of memory, CDs to be returned, and the size of the hard drive. No special software is used. This process is carried out with software that is resident on the PC called a power-on self-test or POST. If during this process we find a component is not responding, such as the memory or hard drive, we will reseat the components to ensure they weren't shaken loose in transit and thereby causing the failure. Again, it's critical that all passwords are removed. If we cannot access a PC because of password protection, a charge may be incurred. 3. We perform a process called a boot kill. This is analogous to removing the table of contents and index from a book, but leaving the pages intact. Leaving the data on your computer in this state does not safeguard the data from data escape and potential identity theft. The file structure is removed, but the contents of the files are not touched. We also do a virus check of the memory to prevent infection of our systems, as your systems are connected to our internal network. The 4th step is to check the PC for physical damage. Technicians don't use any special lighting or magnifying equipment. Units are inspected at arm's length under normal lighting conditions, and technicians do not apply pressure on any component. Laptops, because of their portability, are the most frequently damaged items. Technicians look for cracks that may indicate the unit was dropped. They also look for visible scratches beyond normal wear and tear, as well as missing or broken jacks, bezels, and doors. Technicians will make simple repairs on the spot without charge whenever possible. Typical damages that would be identified as billable are cracks to the case or lid and cracks on the keyboard bezel. The laptop LCD is inspected for discoloration, burned-in images, indentations on the surface that distort characters or images when the machine is turned on, and for cracks and scratches. Superficial scratches are not failed. Scratches must be deep enough to catch a fingernail. Also, scratches along the edge of the LCD, less than an inch long, are not failed. All damage is documented in our system, and we may take digital photos of cracked cases and lids. We're happy to make this documentation available when requested. Missing or damaged equipment is billed to reflect the cost of restoring the product to good condition and working order. Charges never exceed the end-of-lease purchase price for the equipment. Monitors are inspected in a similar manner. Technicians check the case for cracks and the screen for burned-in images and scratches. The power cable and signal cord must be returned with each monitor. Pins of the signal cable must not be bent or broken. The inspection process is the only place where damage and failures are noted. If we discover damage or a failing component after the unit passes inspection, you are not charged. IBM is then responsible. We hope you have a better understanding of the end-of-lease return, verification, and inspection process. Should you have any questions, please contact your IGF representative. Your active participation in the returns process can minimize potential damages by following the procedures explained earlier, such as accurately labeling your packing material, packing the equipment to avoid in-transit damage, ensuring that all components are returned, and removing all passwords. You can eliminate potential damage. We are constantly striving to improve the process while helping our customers meet their cost and asset management goals. At IBM Global Financing, we are committed to always providing the best possible service.